Samson. I'm Samson Dsilva.
Yeah, Samson, can you tell me something about your glider?
Okay, this is a paraglider. Basically, that's the principal parachute which makes you get airborne and gives you lift and makes you float in the air. Paragliding is done in three forms. One is you go to the mountain with the same parachute, and from altitude you inflate the glider, take off, and glide down. If the wind is strong, you can stay up longer. People have flown for 8 to 9 hours without an engine.
All right.
Second method is paramotoring, in which you have two types. One is foot launch, where you run with your legs and get airborne, and another thing is called a trike, where you sit and get airborne.
All right.
And the third form of paragliding is with the help of a winch, where there is a drum with a rope attached, and we can winch you up to about 1,500 feet or 1,600 feet. Then it is detached by the pilot who is flying.
All right.
And the rope falls down and he glides up and comes down and lands. So these are the three forms. We have been teaching here since 1995, more than 20 years.
Does a person who doesn't know flying,
He can go only as a passenger.
Yeah,
We have training sessions.
but how long does it take for a newbie to learn this art?
The basic training is for 3 days,
Okay.
where you can fly solo from the mountain.
All right.
Motorized training is for at least 10 days.
10
We
days.
cover basic and advanced both courses.
All right.
And that gets over in 10 to 12 days. After that, you need to practice.
Okay.
But basic training can be completed in about 12 days time.
And do
For
you all give
motorized
any
training.
certification that?
In India, the sport is not regulated. The certificate you get it is from our.
But no,
club.
any
Yeah,
reputed.
we give.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
give a certificate that you have undergone training to fly under supervision and guidance, and then you have to complete certain number of hours to fly totally without any supervision or guidance.
All right. So can you help me with the setup which you have over here?
Okay.
From the front?
Yeah. This is called a harness. So it's comfortable to sit inside, and in flight you are sitting inside in this. So it becomes a proper seat.
It's like a.
It's a seat. Okay. These are the belts.
These are nylon, or what is it made out
This
of?
is nylon, and this is also webbing of. This material is of ripstop material.
So these are high
It's very
strength
strong.
material.
Yeah,
All right.
very very strong material, and the belts are of course of nylon.
All right.
This is
So it is similar to the clipping of it is similar to a
like
car.
Yeah.
All right.
Same car, but these are clip-on, so you can, in case of emergency, you can disconnect yourself and easily get out of it.
All right.
So it's not really a big hassle to get it out. This machine is flying. There is a starter. This machine start. It's a hand start. We also have a button start.
That is a startup.
Yeah,
Starter.
this is the starter pulley.
All right.
This is for hand start.
All right.
We have button start, which is already in the throttle cable. So this is controlling the RPM of your engine.
Okay.
So it's a proper throttle which goes in your hand. And
Like a brake.
It's not a brake, it's a throttle.
Yeah,
Accelerator.
it's
an
like a brake
accelerator.
lever.
No, accelerator.
All right.
To increase power and reduce
No, what I meant to say it is
For
looks like
turning.
a brake
Yeah, it
lever
looks
but
like a
acts
brake,
as a throttle.
Correct.
All right.
So this is connected with a carburetor.
All right.
So which increases RPM, and basically there is a carburetor.
Can you help me with the technical specification of the carburetor?
This carburetor is of
Is it a
Valbro.
Venturi?
No. This is a Valbro. It's a diaphragm carburetor.
Okay.
That means it can pull up fuel from the tank up.
All right.
So this is the carburetor. It's Valbro. So there is a drum in this.
All
So
right.
basically, it pumps in the fuel up.
All right.
So initially we have to prime the. There is a priming bulb. We prime the fuel up to here. Once the engine starts, the diaphragm works and pumps in the fuel.
All
So there
right.
is a continuous flow of fuel.
So is the air fuel mixture
Yeah. There is
do you all,
yeah.
do you all set it, preset it?
Yeah, it can be preset. There are two controls where you tune it properly. Once it's tuned, then the engine doesn't heat up much,
Okay.
and it provides the right proportion of air and fuel mixture.
All right.
That's very important.
And
This is a two-stroke engine.
two-stroke engine, how many cc?
85 cc.
185 cc. What's the power generated?
This gives you a thrust of about 50-55 kg thrust.
And
Enough for a solo as well as a tandem. This can take two passengers also. Only thing is
50 kilogram of thrust.
Yeah, 50 kg thrust.
50 kg thrust at full throttle.
Yeah. And it runs at about 7,500 RPM at takeoff and landing.
Are these are these blades
This is
carbon?
not carbon fiber.
All
This
right.
is a composite material.
All right.
We also get carbon fiber. This is from a company called Helix.
Is there any significant difference between a fiber and a
And
carbon?
wooden, yeah. We have wooden propellers also. They give equally good thrust. They add up little weight.
So what is the best propeller?
Carbon is better, but basically near the sand, the wear and tear of carbon propellers are slightly higher.
All right.
Because the leading edge gets damaged easily, whereas wooden throttle is a little bit more stronger.
Stronger.
So on the beach, people prefer wooden throttle.
And what is the wooden? Do you know what wooden material? What wood is used?
We use beech and mahogany. It's
Beech.
a mixture, yeah.
Beech wood.
Basically, when you use wood, it's in 3 to 4 layers to add up the strength.
All right.
The soft layer is a hard layer. So we use beech, mahogany.
And what I see over here is this is the spark plug assembly.
This is a cylinder and this is a cowling, which is basically helps the machine stay cooler.
All
This
right.
Basically, it's a
Intake of air.
Yeah, air is better towards the fins because this is air cooled.
So this is belt driven.
Yeah, this is a reduction belt.
Okay.
So the main engine is connected to this small pulley,
All right.
and this is a reduction gear. So basically, this depending on the ratio which you want, it becomes higher.
All right.
Very simple. It's two-stroke cylinder piston. Or
Does this belt require any kind of lubrication?
No. Application. There is a, we call it TBO, time between overall.
Okay.
Certain number of hours you are supposed to replace it.
Change the
makes,
belt.
Yeah, that makes
So
it
if you add normally some in RC, I am from the RC background. So some people, if they have a belt, what they do is they spray a silicone.
not
This
necessary.
not necessary. It's maintenance free.
Yeah, it's that way. It's a maintenance free machine. This is good. This is how much? Paramotoring has started maybe in the early 2000. The motions have come. Today in 2019-20, we have very high-end machines,
All right.
which are very much reliable. Earlier machines were very unreliable. So there used to be a lot of maintenance. But nowadays machines are much more
So
better.
what is the fuel capacity of this?
This is about 13 liters of fuel tank.
13 liters.
But
Where's
you
the
can
fuel
add on.
tank located?
Fuel tank is at the base.
All right.
That's the fuel tank.
This canister is a fuel
Yeah.
tank. All right. What is the capacity?
This is about 13 liters.
13
You can
liters.
have a larger capacity also.
All right.
Then we have a little bit of instruments which are necessary to this, so which will calculate your RPM
Okay.
and basically temperature of your engine. So basically, if you feel something is wrong, you have a look at your instrument whether the RPM
Okay.
is dropping or the engine is getting too hot, then you decide to come down.
All right.
Otherwise, you can have an endurance about 1.5 to 2 hours very easily if you are solo.
Okay. I saw you all flying and it was like a very long flight. I was very surprised to see you all flying so long.
Yeah, unlike RC planes,
Yeah,
RC
yeah.
planes the fuel capacity maybe 10
Yeah,
minutes.
yeah, that's
and you will match. Here we fly for longer duration also.
So can you also tell me about this?
It's a tune
Exhaust?
tune exhaust,
Okay.
and of course it's like any other motorcycle exhaust.
All right.
Yeah, you get various types.
So this is the expansion chamber.
Correct.
And this is
the muffler.
Yeah.
Basically-
It doesn't have any catalytic converter, is it?
No. It doesn't require anything because these are very efficient engines.
Okay.
If your tuning is good, you really don't pollute anything.
All right.
Everything is
No,
fine.
this is not everybody has this, so I don't.
Yeah.
Doesn't
This
matter.
is the new generation of engine.
Runs cleaner.
We have made engines like this,
Okay.
type of Yamaha RX100, but they are a bit unreliable. So we use it only for training purposes on the ground, not for long flights. This is from a company called Airfur. The engine is of a company called Virar.
Where is it made? Where's the origin?
This company is Spanish.
Spanish company.
Yeah, the company which assembles and sells is a Spanish company.
And how much does this cost if you want to buy this setup?
Will cost you about 4.5 lakhs.
4.5 lakhs.
Then you will have to pay about 18% of GST and about 10% of tax. So around 38%.
So around we are looking around 5 lakhs.
5.5 lakhs
5.5
landed
lakhs.
cost. The parachute also is a bit expensive. Will start from about 1,25,000 onwards. That's for solo single person.
All right, sir. Now for this last question for you, how safe is this?
This is as safe as riding a motorcycle.
Alright.
But it comes in terms of risk factor. Yes, it's an element of risk factor is there. You should know what you are doing. You should get properly trained. If you are trained, it's quite a safe thing.
So now I'll put forward 3 scenarios. First scenario is engine failure. What do you all do?
The parachute is open, so it glides down. So whenever you are flying, you are not supposed to fly in an area where you don't have a landing zone.
Correct.
So when we fly, we always keep an eye for a landing zone, and that's ingrained in our like a reflex in your mind. So we never fly if we don't see landing zone, we just turn around that spot.
So at the back of the mind, you all are regularly
Always.
thinking that
Always,
where to
yeah.
land in an emergency.
Correct. We always have wind direction in mind and the open space for landing. We also look out for electric poles and any other obstructions. We also avoid people.
All right.
So generally we don't come on fly on the beach. It's very rare that we fly on the beach.
Yeah. Second scenario would be now as you know, there was a cyclone some days back, and there is another one forming. I don't know what. But what if there is a sudden change in wind conditions? Does it suddenly change, or is it at an altitude where it changes?
Part of our training involves understanding meteorology,
Okay.
micrometeorology. So basically we have a lot of websites and everything where you basically check the predictions. So weather predictions are updated roughly for 3 hours. 3 hours. Every 3 hours there is an update. So you come to know, right now we have so much of satellites in the sky. So many of them are studying the wind pressure, depressions.
Correct.
So like we have just, one storm has just passed by. Today morning onwards the sky was supposed to be clear. Unfortunately we had a little bit of overcast today. But morning and evening, post lunch, it became clear.
Normally for my drone operation, I use Windy as a app.
We use Windy as well as there is something called Wind Finder.
Wind Finder, okay.
Wind Finder
is it more
something-
real time accurate?
Yeah, it's accurate. Basically, if you give them the locations where you are flying, the coordinates, they basically will try to give you accurate location, plus and minus few kilometers of wind speed. So we get HPA, we get temperature, we get the wind strength. We also get to know waves. So a lot of things which are basically important for coastal flying.
All right. And the last scenario would be, what if there is a lightning strike on it? What happens?
On this machine, there is no such things which will get affected. But basically, we are, after experience, you know when to fly and when not to fly. So always the sky is very clear. We don't fly. We do fly during monsoon sometimes, but we take a lot of understanding about what's the cloud base, how much clear space is there, what are the wind speeds, and we have a window of about 10-15 minutes, and we can easily land.
Is the craft, in case there is a strike, is the craft proof?
This is fabric.
Fabric, so it won't.
So fabric will not be affected by lightning. The engine will also not get an earthing.
All right.
So even if it strikes you, there is no earthing.
All right.
So for lightning to hit and affect you, you have to be earthed.
All right.
So we are safe in that.
Thank you so much, sir. And the last question would be, do you who do you recommend this sport to?
Right now, anyone who's adventure freak can learn this. You can start with mountain flying, which is very, very safe. I have students who are about 11-12-year-old who have learned to fly, and I had a gentleman who was 68 when he did he learned to fly. I had a grandmother who flew from the mountain alone.
All right.
So she was 57, 58, but she carried the whole equipment up, flew from the mountain. So it's in your mind. If you are physically fit, you can climb a mountain, you can fly. As simple as what we look for a person who comes in, his attitude towards adventure sport.
All right.
You can't be careless.
Correct.
You have to have good judgmental skills. Mental, physical stability has to be there. Physically, you should be able to carry 15 kgs of weight and climb up the mountain. Issues for this can come in during landing, because landing is when you are going to come in contact with the ground. Unlike your RC planes or anything, we are very, very conscious about wind direction.
Correct.
If you are coming into the wind, your speeds are very, very slow. At touchdown, it can be less than 5 kilometers per hour. And if you are very good, you can basically flare at the right time, and you will not even have to step one step forward.
So one last question: if a person who knows flying drone or a person who knows flying radio controlled aircraft, how easy is it, or is it totally different from his?
It will be slightly different, because when you are a drone or when you are flying an RC plane, I am an RC aero modeler. So basically, you don't care about wind direction or anything. You give power and you can basically bypass many things.
Correct.
You are not having risk factors because there is no one sitting. Though you are controlling it fully with your hand, and it's as good as flying an aircraft, but the fear of human life is not there.
Correct.
So in this case, when you fly, it's your life.
Correct.
So you have to be very, very particular.
But still, you have a lot of backup system like a parachute in case of an emergency. So you said
those reserve parachutes, we call them.
Alright.
So those are necessary when you do acro flying, or when you fly in very, very thermic conditions.
Okay.
Or when you are doing cross country where you have to cross many ridges or something and go. That in times, sometimes the wind can be very strong, the thermal can be very strong, and you can have a collapses. So generally it's very very stable. It auto
So
corrects.
is it like a collapse, or do you mean a vacuum in this, wherein the
Yes.
aircraft just falls?
Correct.
Okay.
It can stall if there is some strong gust. Basically, it can
Like a
pitch.
turbulence, how
Yeah.
the aircrafts.
It can pitch, but generally there is a method of controlling it. If you make a mistake or maybe the gust is too strong and if all of a sudden it can collapse, it recovers on its own.
All right.
But if you have an altitude of more than 500 feet and you are getting into trouble, you can already.
So it's a very forgiving kind of a craft.
Yeah, it's a very. But
Thank-
yeah, risk are associated.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.